Good afternoon, everybody. I am the Cynic. Been a while since I made a video against feminism, so here's an article from the mothership of feminist propaganda, Women's Rights News. The article in question is a call to arms from a male feminist author, James S. Fell, asking to rally their male feminist allies to fight men's rights activists. Quoting from the article, "For men's rights activists, it's all about gender. Men versus women. More specifically, it's about blaming those feminist bitches. Get screwed and divorced? Feminist bitches. Killed in the war? Feminist bitches. Injured in a high-risk job, victim of spousal abuse, male-on-male rape, accused of rape, homeless. It's all the fault of feminist bitches." Unquote. Now, I'm not sure about you guys, but I've never met a man who blamed feminism for being killed in a war or injured in a workplace. I've heard of MRAs compare the hardships of men to the hardships of women with these examples, but never have women or feminism been blamed. Not hard to summarize that these arguments the author has encountered when debating MRAs, but couldn't argue against them honestly. So, he's twisted and contorted the ideas into fitting his female victim narrative, dismissing these legitimate grievances with why men's rights should be a point of focus in the modern world and replacing it with how said ideas may be used to victimize feminism. The article continues on to say, quote, "MRA is not about solving problems that affect men, but about hating women, and to a lesser extent, hating men who ally with feminism." I find this claim extraordinarily ridiculous, since the MRA conference that happened in Canada, where a great deal of the panelists were female. One even a political figure. This conference occurred a few months prior to the release of this article. Jimmy, have you even looked into the people you're claiming to be against? Moving on. Quote from the article, the thing that confuses me, it should be a me in there, about MRAs is that if they were actually serious about solving any of the problems that they profess to rally around, why would they choose to alienate half the population? Oh joy, let me guess, the continuance of this article is going to revolve around an assertion that bases itself in a faulty premise, the one that I just took down, isn't it? Am I right? I'm right, aren't I? Quote, "The feminists I know love men. They don't want them to be injured on the job or get assaulted, restricted from seeing their children, be homeless, or die young." And there it is again. The false premise of the article rears its ugly little head. Nobody has ever accused feminists of wanting men injured on the job or to get assaulted, save a good amount of feminists who'd love to see that, or to be homeless and die young. Yet again, aside from those with the sadistic view that the male population should be either reduced or would get a kick out of seeing men in pain. Hashtag kill all men. Excuse me. Now, as far as the keeping men restricted from their children thing goes, well, that's good for you and the feminists within your inner circle. But what about the feminists who actually, I don't know, make a difference? The ones who protest, the ones who boycott, bring the news, and are seen as the voice and the face of feminism? What do they say? Well, according to now.newyork.org, the National Organization for Women, New York State Inc., strongly urges the Assembly and the Senate of New York to oppose this legislation. This bill seeks to create the statutory of presumption of joint custody for all minor children whose parents are no longer married, so that both parents can continue to share in the responsibilities and duties of the children's upbringing. It goes on to say, shared parenting is defined as the award of custody to both parties so that both parties share equally the legal responsibility and control of such child and share equally the living experience in time and physical care of a sure, frequent, and continuing contact with both parties, as the court deems to be in the interest of the child, taking into consideration the location and circumstances of each party. Ooh, looks like you might be just a bit off there, Jimmy. And, gee, I wonder why those women might be trying to stop their children from seeing, or who they might be trying to stop those children from seeing. Oh well, that's just one website, though, and most likely hundreds of feminists, proclaiming that shared parenting is bad because reasons, I suppose. It's an isolated incident, I'm sure. Quote, the fact that the MRAs deride feminism and view it as the source of their woes, rather than collaborate to solve problems that affect all people, tells me that they don't actually care about solutions. Have MRAs become involved in finding solutions for what happened to Shia LaBeouf or Tamir Rice? What about Mike Brown or Eric Garner? MRAs don't collaborate with feminists? Well, golly gee willikers, I wonder why that would be.
We're not super interested in talking to you, first of all, but basically we're here to shut down an event that is promoting the patriarchy.
This is what men's rights look like! How do you sleep at night, man? You fuckers.
I'm not even on a side here. I just list as many people as I can.
You know what, though? Why would you pay money to fucking support a fucking rape apologist if you weren't fucking one?
If you would shut the fuck up for the 50th millionth time! Bullshit! Bullshit! You hate sexism, but you're an MRA!
Truly, it's a mystery. And as for MRAs deriding feminism exclusively, this is a blatant lie. Yet again, if you'd actually read/watch anybody addressing men's issues, not anti-feminist issues, yes, there is a difference, you'd hear more about gynocentrism and societal expectations of how men are supposed to behave and how men are viewed as disposable. Feminism has done little to nothing to help, to be sure, but don't give yourselves too much credit. Men's issues were around long before you came into the picture. And as far as the men you've listed, bring about the idea that women can and do lie about rape. The process is painstaking, but people are becoming more and more skeptical about rape claims despite the feminist growing culture of believe first, question later, and hysteria of rape. I ask, what has the MRA ever accomplished other than to warp the minds of certain men and draw continual attention from the Southern Poverty Law Center's hate watch blog for their misogyny and threats of violence towards women? Quote, end quote. Well, how about spreading awareness about the divorce rate? A man's chance of becoming a statistic versus the chance of a woman, what happens to a man's life and after divorce, paternal alienation and financial ruin, destigmatizing male abuse victims, questioning a man's place in the social hierarchy, and so much more. Though these can also be attributed to individual men's questioning of why things are the way they are, and why they have expectations that they have, MGTOW being one of the most prominent sects to emerge from the MRM. Don't think they promote violence? Read the words of the MRA poster boy Paul Elam, or go to Reddit and prepare to have your eyes bleed. Okay, I've listened to Paul Elam quite a few times, and he's been more in defense of women against the misogyny within the manosphere. Perhaps, adding a link to this promotion of violence of women would be helpful? Nah, who am I kidding? This article isn't about objective analysis and honest argumentation. Why bother trying to start now? MRAs give men a bad name and holds inclusive feminism back. This is an important role for male allies to play because men who are on the MRA fence are less likely to listen to a woman's views on the subject, but they may listen to a man. Male allies can pull them back from the brink. Alright guys, I'm just going to save this because it'll make the next point all the sweeter. If you're serious about solving problems faced by men, it's feminism that needs your support, not the MRA. Feminism has a history of improving the lives of both genders. All MRA seems to accomplish is a promotion of misogyny and violence. Alright, so your solution for men solving their problems is to become feminists? Alright, you know what, I'll bite that hook. I'll take that. Let's take a look at some of the prerequisites to become an everyday male feminist from the website Everyday Feminism and see how they will help men help themselves. Rule number 1. Understand that women are leading the way and affirm their capable leadership. Don't assert yourself at the forefront. Okay, that seems kind of counterproductive to men's issues, but it's the first in the list that's directed at feminism. Of course it's going to be about helping women. 2. When it comes to issues that directly pertain to women's bodies and experiences, be quiet and listen. It's not very conducive to men's rights either. That's actually pretty counterproductive too. Alright. Let's see here. Number 3 doesn't have anything to do with it. Aha! Number 4. Take responsibility for addressing men's issues with other men, rather than expecting women in feminism to do all of the work. Gee, you know what that sounds like? That sounds kind of like feminists don't really want to deal with men's issues. Matter of fact, that sounds like they want men who desire equality to get together themselves and discuss the issues on their own. Like a movement of some kind for activism and men's rights or something. Hey, Mr. Feld, did you happen to read the rules of male feminists have to abide by before you wrote this article? Because it really doesn't seem like you have. The article's old, but I figured it'd be fun to make some original content again, considering my last video was really made a few months ago and only transferred to this channel last night. And what's more fun than ripping into a feminist article and exposing the blatant hypocrisy that it has to offer? I am the Cynic, everybody. Have a nice day. Play me out, Big Red.
Shut the fuck up.